Hi folks, it's the 7th of May 2026. We're a week into May and much of what I've been looking at earlier on seems to have manifested. So I want to review that and then look forward for the rest of May in a different way to what I've done so far. And I particularly want to focus on two times that are coming up in May that are, or both, one is absolutely amazing and it's not to be missed, and one is really difficult. So I'm going to look at this in detail in just a moment. First of all, though, and I'll keep this really brief, this is probably the last time you'll hear me talking about this on YouTube this year anyway, might be one more. In 4 days' time, I'm off to shifts. Doing the final preparation for it now. We have sold out of day tickets. There are very few residential tickets left, single figures only. There are streaming packages still available, but we've sold out of all the EarlyBirds and all the discount codes are now irrelevant apart from the ones that we choose to make. But for the YouTube audience, for all the subscribers and for all the people who are watching YouTube, if you want to buy the full package for the streaming package, that means that if you're in a different part of the world, you can't get the shifts, or if you're at work, or if you're looking after the kids, but you still want to watch, you can with a streaming package because you get if you can get a 60-day replay ticket. I mean, you can watch it live and get a replay ticket for 60 days. Now, when you buy the ticket, if you go onto the Shifts Happen To TOO website, and go to the streaming section, streaming tickets, and you put in the code SHIFTS, capital letters, numeral 20, SHIFTS 20, all in one word, you'll get a 20% discount. Okay, promotion over. Now, when I did my May forecast, I said that over the 4th, 5th, 6th of May, Pluto was going to go retrograde, and on the same day as that, and very close, within a few hours of that, Mercury was squaring Pluto. I said this would lead to subterfuge, bit of malfeasance, things being said in the background that were not going to be seen in the open air. Also on that day, Mars was squaring Jupiter, which was going to over-exaggerate, over-amplify, and big things up in a way that had no substance. I can't help but realise that what's happened in the last few days is the much vaunted Project Freedom, where the American Navy at Trump's direction was going to go in and bring out all of the ships, only to be halted after 48 hours after one ship had come out, maybe two. Now this fits very clearly what I said earlier about things going on in the background, things that we don't know, and to quote Rumsfeld, we don't know what we don't know, but the hype and spin as well. In my May forecast of a week ago, I alluded to the fact that May had 4 major points. One has passed, and the other is a general one, in that the amount of void moons this month are very large, not so much large, but long. There's a 33-hour void moon later this month, and there's a couple of more than 24 hours. It's because all the planets are in early degrees of their signs. But there are 2 times coming up this month that I really want to draw your attention to. And because I've done a lot of looking at this in the last 24 hours, I'm much more comfortable with it now than I was when I was on holiday and doing my May forecast. So I want to focus on the time of about a week and a half from now. Now I'm going to be at shifts on the 15th. And the 15th and the 16th, Friday and the Saturday, is healthy and tame and fun, buzzing, nothing serious going on. The 17th of May, Sunday the 17th of May, The moon will move into Gemini at 3:25 in the morning, UK time. The moon will conjunct Mercury at 2 a.m. in the morning. And Mercury will move into Gemini at about 11:30 in the morning, all on the 17th. Now, what's remarkable about this is that Uranus is at 0 degrees 01, 02, 03 of Gemini. So on Sunday the 17th in the morning, UK time, the moon will conjunct Mercury at 29:58, 29:59, 29:08 I'm seeing, of Taurus. And then the moon will move into Gemini, and then Mercury will move into Gemini. And both the moon and Mercury will conjunct Uranus. These are the first conjunctions to Uranus since it moved into its new sign of Gemini. Viewed on its own, this suggests to me that Sunday the 17th is going to be bringing some really stimulating and interesting news. And it is not going to be connected with the ongoing, not superficial, no, not at all, the ongoing dramas of the world. This is not connected with Israel, Gaza, Israel, Lebanon, or the Gulf, or Russia, Ukraine. It's not connected with war. This is really hopeful. It's really positive. Mercury conjunct Uranus at the very start of Gemini suggests some type of breakthrough, some type of clear communication, either some new invention being discovered, some type of big announcement happening, some type of breakthrough in communication. And to have the moon there as well speaks of a remarkable moment. Some type of new contact, some type of connection being made in a way that's different to anything that's happened before. And it seems joyful. It seems positive. And it's not just the fact that it's the moon conjunct Mercury conjunct Uranus at the very start of Gemini. Because over the next 2 days, on Monday the 18th, Mars will move into Taurus and Venus will move into Cancer, and this will happen less than 3 hours apart from each other. And Mercury will be sextiling Neptune and trining Pluto, and Venus will be sextiling Mars. So over the 17th, 18th, 19th, Mercury is going to move into Gemini, conjunct Uranus, trine Neptune. Sextile Neptune, trine Pluto. Venus is going to move into Cancer. Mars is going to move into Taurus, and they're going to sextile each other. And the moon is going to be in both Gemini and Cancer, hitting all of these things in a lovely way. I consider the 17th, 18th, 19th, particularly the 17th and 19th, because the 18th is a void moon all day. But I consider Sunday the 17th and Tuesday the 19th to be remarkable. There seems to be some very positive energy around. Now on Tuesday the 19th, I'm going to be working with a group of people, 35, 40 people, in a very specific way. So you know who you are. And I didn't plan it like this, but it looks like this could be something really, really stimulating and exciting. So I'm really excited by this. And at age 70 years old, and having been doing astrology 50 years, for me to get excited about something is comparatively rare. 17th, 18th, 19th, folks, whatever you do on those days, do it with joy, do it with love, big it up, create something new, be positive, because there's a really big windows of opportunity. Now, this is going to go against the rhetoric and the narrative of what's happening in the world around us. And there will be a kickback against this, you can be sure. Because this is demonstrated the more we get into the end of May by the relatively almost standalone aspect of Mars squaring Pluto on the 26th of May. Now, if I were to speculate, Mars square Pluto is one of the most difficult transits there is, because it unleashes raw, primal, buried anger. It also can be an acute, sharp and precise way of expressing oneself that gets absolutely clinical results. I've seen this before and I've likened it to a surgical strike. An acute, incisive, laser-like. But when I apply this to the ongoing world situation, I can see how the forecast for the first 4 or 5 days of May played out in the Gulf. I suspect that this is going to play out in that same scenario again. But this will be the end game, I think. I think that the word stockpiles has been circulating in my brain for a week or more now. And I think there will be some type of movement around this time. I'm not saying on that date, but around the 24th to the 27th of May, I think there'll be some type of, hopefully not forced, but possibly forced, solution to issues around Iranian nuclear stockpiles. However, on the same day that Mars is square Pluto, the Sun is also trining Pluto. This will ameliorate it to a degree. And what this suggests to me is that there isn't going to be any very loud, big explosions with a lot of fallout or anything like that. But I do think it's going to get a bit messy. Because once we're into June, it's all much quieter. I don't want to breed false hope here, because once we get into July, we've got the big lineup coming up. But as I've said to my members and my students, once we're into early mid-August, and astrologically speaking, 80 to 90% of the challenges of this year are over. And it is getting closer now. In a way, what's been happening in the Gulf and Ukraine and Gaza and Lebanon has taken a lot of the astrological energy in ways that it said if they weren't happening, this energy would be widespread over a much greater area. Mind you, I'm still thinking that there's the sleeping giant in the east. And if I were, well, it's a bit early to talk about this yet, but if I were in Taiwan, I'd be looking at what's going on. More on that perhaps in June. But at the moment, this month, there's 2 big flashpoints. That 17th to the 19th is just drop dead gorgeous. Please do something for yourselves that brings a sense of joy. And then around the 24th to the 26th, 23rd to the 27th, if that Mars-Pluto is hitting you, if you've got stuff at 5 degrees, 4 or 5 degrees of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, duck, stay low. We live in interesting times. I'm bringing together 130 people, all with significant astrological knowledge, plus God knows how many on the live stream, at least 100. And we're going to have a think tank about how astrology can help the world become a much more unified, healthier, holistic and better place. Feel free to join. You'd be most welcome. Catch you later, folks. Bye.